Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into an explainer of some seriously fascinating source material. We're going to bridge a massive gap between ancient Japanese culture and, well, the everyday digital age stress that we literally all deal with. We're talking about a 1,500-year-old philosophy, but it's packed with tools that are surprisingly perfect for our hyper-connected world. Let's shift our perspective a bit, shall we?
So what exactly is Zen? I want you to just take a second and picture the word Zen in your mind's eye. What do you see? I mean, for most of us, our brains immediately jump right to those classic pop culture stereotypes, right? Maybe you're picturing monks in flowing robes doing zazen in a mist-covered temple. Or, maybe you're visualizing those perfectly raked, super quiet gravel gardens from the movies. Or a fancy spa retreat. We toss the word around casually all the time, like, oh man, I'm feeling very Zen today. But I really want to challenge those surface-level assumptions. Because according to our sources, the reality of Zen is actually so much more profound and way more practical than just a Hollywood trope.
Okay, let's dive into this. Let's actually transition away from those illusions and just peel back the layers to discover what Zen truly is. Because at its core, it is not what you think. Zen isn't some mystical aesthetic, and it's definitely not a relaxation technique you just buy off a shelf. It is fundamentally an active, fully immersive way of experiencing reality. It's an absolute game changer in how we actually engage with the world around us.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the linguistic and historical journey of the word itself. The term Zen didn't just magically appear out of thin air. It actually started over in India with the Sanskrit word Dhyana. Over the centuries, this idea traveled like wildfire through China, eventually making its way to Japan, where it became Zen. And the meaning of Dhyana is absolutely crucial here. It means to quiet the mind and to feel deeply. Notice, it doesn't say to think deeply. That's a massive distinction. It represents this huge historical shift away from trying to intellectualize the world and moving toward deeply, quietly feeling it instead.
And that brings us to the very foundation of the philosophy. Based on our source text, there are 4 core principles of Zen. First up, truth beyond words. Basically, no matter how many brilliant books you read, intellectual understanding just isn't enough. Second, experience over texts. Actually experiencing life is vastly more important than just memorizing old scriptures. Third, point directly to the mind, which just means looking deep into your own inner consciousness. And finally, see your true nature. You don't need a special location or to transform into a completely different person. You are entirely enough exactly as you are in this very moment. The big takeaway here is that Zen is an immediate, hands-on experience. It is not some dry academic study. It's a call to action. Stop overthinking and start experiencing.
Let's move into our next section, a tale of 2 monks.
Now, what's really interesting about this next bit is seeing how this practical philosophy actually took root. For that, we got to travel way back to Japan's Kamakura period. So it's the year 1191, and after a literally life-risking journey to train in China, a monk named Isai brought back the Rinzai school of Zen. His whole approach was intensely active. He used these bizarre, mind-breaking riddles called koans. Now, completely contrasting this was a monk named Dogen, who introduced the Soto school. Dogen's approach was way more passive and incredibly simple. He called it Shikantaza, which loosely translates to just sitting. Not sitting to suddenly gain enlightenment, but just sitting earnestly. The act of sitting itself is the practice. These 2 monks and their wildly different methods, they formed the absolute bedrock of Japanese Zen.
Let's look a little closer at Isai's method because it's pretty wild. I want to give you one of his absolute most famous koans. Okay, so you know that clapping 2 hands together makes a sound, right? So what is the sound of 1 hand clapping? Take a second. Sit with that.
Right? Did you feel your brain kind of glitch trying to figure that out? Well, that is exactly the point. As our source explains, there is absolutely no logical answer to that question. None. And that's exactly why Isai used it. The entire goal of a koan is to force you to tackle a problem that simply cannot be solved with your intellect. It's meant to deliberately shatter your fixed ideas and break your normal logical thinking patterns. It literally forces you out of your calculating thinking mind and pushes you straight into pure, direct experience.
Let's move to our next part and see how this builds. The invisible influence.
You see, Zen didn't just stay trapped inside dusty monastery walls. It secretly shaped the everyday aesthetics of Japan in ways that are honestly still highly visible today. Take the traditional tea ceremony, for example. It's held in a tiny, minimalist room with simple tools,
and it's entirely focused on just cherishing the present moment. Or think about those dry landscape gardens. They use just rocks and sand, without a single drop of water, to represent massive oceans. It's the aesthetic of feeling what is absent. Or look at haiku poetry. It expresses the absolute deepest truths of life and the seasons in just 17 syllables. Stripping away all the unnecessary fluff reveals the true essence. Even in daily habits, like saying itadakimasu in profound gratitude before eating a meal, or the concept of ma, which is all about appreciating comfortable, quiet pauses in conversation. These aren't just cultural quirks. They are living, breathing manifestations of Zen, focusing totally on the beauty of simplicity and the incredible power of the present moment.
Which brings us to our next section, Zen in the modern world.
So, you might be wondering, how on earth does this ancient wisdom apply to my modern workspace? Well, it actually connects directly to the massive global boom we're seeing in mindfulness right now. What started as Zen meditation in quiet mountain temples is now literally a core business strategy for massive tech giants like Google and Apple. They're implementing these exact practices into their corporate structures to reduce employee burnout and drastically improve focus in our crazy, distracted world. Think about that for a second. What started with monks in the mountains centuries ago is now being utilized by software engineers in Silicon Valley today.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why it's become so popular. The hard science actually backs it up. According to the research cited in our sources, doing just 8 weeks of meditation physically changes the actual structure of your brain. It is clinically proven to drastically reduce your stress levels, remarkably improve your concentration, and really enhance your emotional control. So this isn't just some fluffy spiritual philosophy anymore, folks. This is neurological fact. For the modern worker, constantly bombarded by smartphone alerts and endless notifications, the ability to just focus on the now, which is the very core of Zen, is an absolutely vital, practical survival skill.
Okay, let's look at the final piece here. Your practice.
So, knowing all of this, how do you actually do it? Let's just slow down for a minute here. I want to assure you right off the bat, you do not need to book a flight to a temple in Kyoto, and you absolutely don't need any special equipment to experience this for yourself. Our sources outline some highly actionable, beautifully simple steps to bring a little Zen into your daily life, starting today. First off, tomorrow morning, try drinking your first cup of coffee without looking at your phone. Don't scroll, just taste it. Second, when you're out walking, intentionally bring your awareness down to the physical sensation of the soles of your feet hitting the pavement. And third, this is the most traditional practice. Just sit quietly for 5 minutes. Keep your back straight, let your eyes half close, and just slowly direct your attention to your breathing. And hey, you don't need to completely empty your mind. That's a myth. If stray thoughts pop up, don't judge them, and definitely don't get frustrated. Just gently return your focus to your breath. That's it. That's the whole shebang. Through this simple act, your mind will naturally start to regain its calm.
Ultimately, Zen doesn't just hand you the answers on a silver platter. Instead, it tells you to find them yourself. Whether you're finding beauty in a single leaf falling on a rock, listening to the birds chirp in the morning, or honestly just sitting in silence, Zen is alive right there in those moments. As this 1,500-year-old message so perfectly summarizes, the answer is within you. So I want to leave you with this provocative invitation today. When this explainer wraps up in a few seconds, don't immediately click over to another tab. Put your device down, go find a quiet spot, and experience your own 5 minutes of silence today. You might just be entirely surprised by what you find. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.